Welcome back to another interview on the Death Curse Club channel, and I'm excited because we're keeping the streak going. We have another cinematographer from the recent released VHS Halloween, out now on Shudder. We have the cinematographer for Coochie Coochie Coo, which is one of my favorite shorts from that film, and I'd like to welcome to the show right now, Powell Robinson. Welcome to the show.
Man. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on. I've been blessed with being able to talk to Sean from Home Haunt last week. And what I want to ask first is, like, how did you get involved with this? I've seen that you worked with the director, Anna. Is it like you have to go with your trusted sources to do this?
Anna and I went to college together, and so we shot a thesis together. I've been shooting everything she's directed since, and so sort of just the natural path for things to go that we would do this one together also.
Oh, wow. So it like you've literally had both your careers have just been parallel this entire time?
Yeah, I shot her first feature appendage as well, and
that's the one. That's the one.
Yes, back to doing music videos in college as well. So it's been a long time.
Wow, that's fantastic. So when you're presented with this idea of, hey, do you want to come enter in this franchise, VHS, were you aware of VHS already?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm a longtime horror fan, and I remember watching them back in when it first came
2012.
out. 2012. Yeah.
Wow. So you get presented the idea of this. Where does the idea of doing kind of a witch tale in a haunted house with a gnarly like bodysuit of this person? How did the idea come to form?
That is all Anna. I think it's honestly, I think she'd be the right person to ask, because there's a lot of personal experience with feelings regarding motherhood and the outlook, I would say, on the expectations for children, among other things. And it's a very, 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 very personal take on it. But obviously she likes to explore all of her feelings through gross body horror. And so this seemed like the natural outlet, just like Appendage was. She and I both are very, very, very anxious people, and that anxiety that got discussed in Appendage felt very familiar to both of us. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So what was your take for doing the camera work of, like, Sean had to think about doing a 70s style, 80s style. What was your take of bringing these two teens that are trick-or-treating, their last night trick-or-treating, creating havoc? What did you want to bring to the table for that?
So from the beginning, we knew it just had to feel really, really authentic. The whole thing was going to hinge on it feeling like it was just these two girls doing all of this. And so our goal through every step of the process, both technical and operationally for me, was like, don't do anything that feels like a professional operator is doing any of this. Don't make it feel like any of it is lit whatsoever. Just keep it as natural as possible. I would say that the biggest textural difference between us and some of the other segments is we're set in 2009, and while a lot of VHSs have obviously been transferred to VHS in the past, DV cameras were the main thing for us that age. It was so we had to develop a new process for that, since with VHS you can usually feed it directly into like a VCR recorder onto tape. DV camera is a little bit more limited how you can actually get it onto those tapes. And so we actually developed our whole own process based off of something I saw online called a tapeless tape out, where you take like a DV camera, and instead of recording the tape, you just take that feed and run it into a recorder. And so once we shot the whole thing, we did this whole process where we put it on a big OLED TV, and we actually filmed it on a DV camera, but we colored it to look as like neutral and natural as possible. So when it hit the sensor, the camera just thought it was seeing real life. And so, we were trying to every step of the way make sure that all of it felt right to the time period and right to the characters.
And like when you were doing the research for that, because that's a lot of thought process to make sure you get that feel and authenticity. So what are you watching back then? Were you watching like Paranormal Activity?
What's funny is honestly, there weren't a lot of references for exactly what we wanted to capture. And so I was more based off of my own personal recollections. Like I was shooting on TV camera in high school and even early college, and so I referenced two cameras that I'd used back then. Which one was
Okay.
a Canon HB40 is this little like totally consumer point and shoot, and
Right.
then the XL2, which was what they shot 28 days later with. It's what we used for our like high school film class shoots. It was a prosumer nice DV camera. So I was like,
Right.
how can we bring this into modern filmmaking needs? Because
Right.
um, basically that process that I just described to you, we were originally going to shoot on set doing that with like that camera and like feeding into a monitor, but it was super unstable because I was shaking the camera and running into stuff and hitting things like like it is. So other than the first scene, I'm the only one operating.
Okay.
And so it had to be stable enough for me to like literally hit walls and things and like fall to the ground. And unfortunately, that shit was a little bit too DIY. It was cool.
Yeah.
And it was a brilliant process. Actually, so the original concept for it came from Kenny McMillan, who runs Frame and Reference, the podcast, and he did this YouTube video like, I made a weird tape-free tape-out thing with using my XL2. And I was like, this is incredible. This is it. So I called him up because I'd done an interview with him in the past. I was like, can I just borrow your whole setup and I'm going to try this out? I actually still have it. I need to give it back to him. But yeah, and so we switched to just doing that in post only. But you'd be shocked at what we had to do on set in terms of trying to convince people this wasn't me operating. I mean, it was tons of just doing it wrong. You like holding the camera sideways, operating with only one hand, so it was extra like I'm shaking it and running around, and and then on top of that, like every time the girls hand the camera off, it's me handing it to myself. So we had to do a thing where one's in front of me, one's behind me. She turns, walks towards me, and I just jiggle it, and one of them puts their hand on it, and I sidestep over, and I just I literally would pick it up, sidestep, come down, and that was the move. And it looked exactly like the thing's moving over. But like just tricks, fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite things about found footage is that the cinematographer ends up being a character in the film inadvertently, because you do have to portray yourself in how would these two characters handle this situation and moment. And
dude, I was in costume.
Oh, really?
I was wearing their costumes because if I caught myself in a reflection or if I looked down at my feet, so I was in a pink onesie and a rainbow onesie for all 5 days. And I couldn't wear my size shoe because it would make the feet look too big. So I was cramming my feet into like their sized shoe, which I had to like have my ankles out, so I literally couldn't do it. But yeah, I was in wardrobe. I would say everyone was kind of in character because even my first AC pulling focus had to not do it well. He had to act like autofocus in an old camera. And so you'll see a lot of the times in this, I'll look at someone and it'll just focus behind them to a wall and then it'll come back to them. Because those old cameras didn't know how to track people well. So I would say that pretty much everyone was method on this, down to the assistant camera op,
100%. All I could think of was like you were method cinematography. That's amazing. What was it like with those gnarly characters, like filming the mommy and the baby, the big cheeks that they had? Like, was it kind of disturbing? I'm imagining you're in dark lit, granted lit, but as dark as possible.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to do overnights, and so we blacked out all the windows the whole time. And also, it was the middle of summer in Pomona, so it was hot as fuck inside that house. We just created an oven for ourselves, but we only had to do like 1.5 overnights instead of 5, so it was worth it. But yeah, I mean, all the makeup, all of that, like I would say 99% of what you see on screen was actually there. And then what we accentuated were like in post, like you make their eyes a little bigger with like just a little, After Effects track, just blow their eyes up, or change the mommy's eye color a little bit. But overall, that makeup team rocked. I mean, I've loved the movies they've worked on in the past. So, they did The Ritual, they did the new Hellraiser movie, and their shit's so good. And so seeing them do their magic in person was pretty awesome.
And you guys were the kickoff on this. Like, I know there's, the overarching story that goes throughout the entire film, but you guys were the first to start. And like, in my opinion, growing up in wrestling and being an old professional wrestler, like it's always you want to be first or last because you
Sure.
either got to get the show off to a hot start or main event. So you guys starting, it seems like you guys had a complete gun go. Your short feels only like 7 minutes. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
like even though it's like 15, it's so running and you're moving so much for you. What was it like to divulge a scene of like, okay, we got to get the point A to point B. I got to make sure this camera gets here.
Yeah.
It seems like everything had to be mapped out to a T.
It did. I would say that, well, first off, we actually didn't know we were going to play first. None of the segments are told like kind of the order. They want to see them all and then
Okay.
they decide like what the contour needs to be later. So
Okay.
I mean, we were all stoked to be first, I think, because yes, I
Right.
would say that momentum and the continuous nature of ours, it feels cool to have it be up, in that order.
Right.
Anna mapped everything. Like we went, so she scripted it, blocked it, and then we went to the location, and then she reblocked it to the location once we had the final one. But I mean, it was every beat,
Right.
where every scare was, where every camera placement was, and then I got to improvise, obviously, in terms of, you know, how shaky, what I was looking at as I got there. She wanted me to. Her main note to me was always just make it look worse, like in the best way, like just fuck it up more. Because if the
Right.
more polished it felt, the less real it felt, and so I would start to do things just like when a character's talking, I would just zoom into the background just because if I was holding the camera, I'd be like, oh, what's that weird thing? And then I'd like whip back over to them. So I'm, oh, fuck, I'm supposed to be listening to you. Right. And so,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I got to improv those little beats, but no, I mean, it was mark for mark mapped across the entire house front to back, which was really fun just to kind of come in and we all memorized this interactive stage play of blocking and we just got to live it out each time. I mean,
Right.
the oneer nature of it, I would say we actually did. It's unfortunately had to get broken up by a few glitches just for pacing. But if
Right.
you watch the original cut, it was shot to be seamless, basically from once they enter the house to the end.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, and it
Ah.
basically still is. They just had to abridge a few of the running moments because it was just too much time to get around the house. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, we basically shot. Um, I forgot how many sections it ended up being, but you know, the stitches are fairly well hidden, and it was always supposed to be almost continuous front to back. I would say the thing
Right.
that surprised us the most, we ended up breaking things up less than you normally would. We actually started combining stuff. By day 2 and 3, we got into the rhythm. We were like, we should just make this actually a oneer today. We have all day to shoot, you know, 3 rooms. Let's just take the time to block it right at the top and not cut on whips, not cut on light gag. Let's just try and like do it all for real. And so my favorite one was from from the kitchen during the first reveal, like that runs all the way up the stairs into that pink room over to the cheerleader. Mommy comes up the stairs, and then we go down the hall. We shot that continuously. That was like all like it's like 7.5 minute, like
Really?
did that on the day for real. And I think they combined some takes in post,
Okay.
but again, maybe not. I wasn't there for all the post stuff, so like they might have used one of the takes all the way through. I don't know, but like it was
Right.
a crazy process for sure.
No, it definitely sounds like it. Have you,
Sorry
are
for the
you,
ramble.
oh, no, no, please, trust me. You
Yeah.
are giving information that I love to yum, yum, yum up. I did hear that the neighborhoods were all the same neighborhood shot
Yeah.
on. So I thought that was pretty neat to have some kind of like we're collective in this way too. But like, did you go on any other sets after? Did you guys film early enough where you got to see other things?
We were the first one up. And so
Right.
we kind of, you know, we didn't, no one else had really gotten the lay of the land yet. Actually, my gaffer ended up going on to gaff Fun Size once we were finished with
Okay.
our segment because they liked him a lot. He's a joy. And so they took him. But
Nice.
no, we were on basically this one back lot. They had our house there. They had the house across the street where our basement was. And yeah, everything was there. I would say what's crazy is the house that you see in the video actually isn't laid out the way that the house there really is. We reformatted and structured what rooms are where they are. Basically, we started in one room over and cheated it because one room had the door and one didn't have the door. But we needed to
Right.
make it look like the door was there eventually.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it was a lot of clever cheating where we ran to and from, so you thought the layout was a little different. But
Gotcha.
all on location.
That's
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And honestly, everybody should go and Cheddar to check it out. It's phenomenal. It's my favorite, if not top two, of the VHS series, including the original. I would kick myself if I didn't ask you these next questions.
Sure.
Just you've brought up that you are a horror guy, and like I'm looking at your credits, it is obvious that you are into horror. But one thing that really caught my eye is that you worked on Ice Nine Kills, Meet and Greet, and
yes,
Work of Art, and Work
Yes.
of Art. And I was wondering, what is it like working with them on their music videos, because they're elaborate as all get out. Like they'll do storyline 10-minute videos. So I was wondering if you were involved in those shootings as well, not just music video wise.
I mean, yeah, so for the Terrifier one, I got to shoot the literal music video section. They were picked up while I was away on other shoots and things, but the actual like once they walk into the building to like that sort of narrative outro when they're like meeting in the office, or like I did the middle section that was all the murder and the performance and all that. And I would say that it's interesting, especially with that director Jensen, who I shoot a lot for as well. We do all the Falling in Reverse videos and a ton of more narrative stuff. He definitely approaches it almost like split right down the middle, narrative and music video. I would say it's not just prepped as a music video shoot only. And so a lot of that is designed to work like a short film set. And then you also just happen to shoot music video elements while you're there.
Right. And I was wondering if it's, specifically with Terrifier or Meet and Greet, like you're also trying to homage a film. So like, Terrifier, were you trying to shoot it in a specific light or way to make it feel like you're watching perhaps a sequel to Terrifier?
I think I just wanted to do justice to the character more than anything. I mean, there was no way with what the content of the shoot was, how fast we had to move, and what we were doing, to really try and copy, homage, or match that look. It just had to be its own new thing, because it's not edited like those movies. It's not really like camera directed like those movies at all, and so it just innately wouldn't have made sense to try and match it too much. But I did want to make sure that the character didn't look crazy different under a different style of lighting, so people still felt like he was the one that they recognize. I think if you did any sort of punchier, poppier music video style lighting on him, more frontal key, anything that would like maybe happen sometimes in a poppier music video, I think it wouldn't have worked. And so trying to keep his angles, keep his contrast, make him look scary as fuck. That was that was the goal, and it was really him. So that was very cool to be there working with him. He's a very nice guy. But
that's awesome. That's
funny
awesome.
to be like setting up a shot, and then you look over and fucking Art the Clown is just like drinking from a juice box, and you're like, what the hell? Life is weird. Life is weird.
My life is happening right now. Yeah, for sure. Also, I as looking at your credits, like it looks like you're producing, you're directing as well, and I talk to cinematographers that are like, I'm happy, this is my place, I like shooting the thing, but seeing that you also are trying to expand, it seems, into those worlds, what is it like producing and not just shooting a movie or directing, being in charge of everybody on the crew? What is it like being the captain, basically?
Sure. I mean, I would say that the directing side of my life was something I focused on right after college more, and like until shooting really started, like my DP career really started to move up, and it just I had to choose. I had to basically focus on one or the other, and I couldn't just sort of be okay at both. I had to really choose a path. And so I would say that the directing side has sort of fallen back while the shooting's gotten bigger. I do think that producing is something that you can do in tandem a little more easily, because to a certain extent on smaller shoots and honestly sometimes even bigger shoots, you're, as a DP, you're pulling together your crew, your gear rentals, you're handling a lot of logistics as far as like where the trucks need to go and the power and what, like on your scouts, you're very picky about, if you've fucked up enough times to know you have to be, about where you're going to put like Video Village and where you're going to put your stuff and staging. And so you develop a bit of a producing brain just by nature of doing the job.
Oh, wow.
And I think those two kind of go hand in hand, especially once you start managing bigger crews and it's not just you, a camera, one light, and like the actors. And now suddenly you're not even touching the camera and you're at a monitor. You got like 18 people on your G&E team and they're like hanging hundreds of lights. You're more managing than you are necessarily always in that hands-on auteur position of like being the only one doing any of it. And so you just end up getting okay at managing. It's technically 3 departments, you know, the electric, the grip, and the camera department, on top of interacting with everyone else and knowing what they need, a lot of production design talk and knowing what they need from you to make their shit work. And you start getting a feel for just, you know, what makes sets run well. And I'd say that it works out that way.
Now, do you think this, like, you know, blessing bees, you go all the way staying on as director of photography, cinematographer?
Yeah.
Do you see that you're going to have to move to another slot? Like, holding those cameras got to be heavy as all get out in some cases, or breaking your back.
It's some work.
And you look like you're buffing the stuff. So you know, I would say when I was younger, I felt a little more invincible doing it, and then recently I was like, I always wanted to be hands-on. I was like, I'm the only one. I want to hold the camera all day. I'm not even going to put it down. And now it's like the takes over. I'm like, Jesus Christ, get this thing off of me. Especially now because I did this to myself. A lot of my movies and a lot of my music videos, I got pretty good with handheld operation, and then people saw that and they're like, oh, I just want you to do handheld all the time. You know, you're so fast at it. Like, why don't we just do this the entire movie? And so I've ended up putting myself in this box where people really like how I operate handheld, and so I'm going to be doing it for a minute longer probably. Yeah. But instead of sitting there shouldering it for 12 hours, now the take's over and like I got to get that shit off because I'm feeling it now that I'm a little older. Right.
But I would say I've lucked out that a lot of the music videos I do, and once the scope of the movies gets a little bigger, you often are more on Steadicam and Techno Crane and dollies than you are handheld, just because the polish needs to be there, and that sort of studio expectation needs to be there. And so I do get a break now, which is nice a lot of the time, but I love operating on fight scenes. I will do that till I die. I'll do that till my back can't take it anymore. Operating on fight scenes is one of my favorite things in the world.
What's a fight scene that you did that you love? Because obviously you look like you have such a passion. What is one that was wild?
Well, really recently, I got to shoot the City Walls music video for 21 Pilots. And there's 2 very strictly hand-to-hand things, and there's as well as a bunch of other stunts, but like 2 very, very just fight scenes that I had to hop in there and do it. And it was the stunt coordinator was Jackson Spadell, who did Ballerina recently, and I was like, I gotta operate on this guy's stuff. I just have to know. I gotta do it.
That's freaking awesome, man. You're doing it up. I love it. That's what you get for being athletic, because you look athletic. You're athletic. Hold the camera. Powell, thank you so much for coming on and talking VHS and your career. Before we let you go, please plug whatever Instagrams, podcast shows, things that you do, so the world can get to know you more.
Okay, so we'll start with, outside of horror, I run an action film festival called Big Bad Film Fest in LA. It happens yearly. And this is going to be our 4th year now, next year. But we've had an incredible run with it so far, and some great support. Beyond Fest has been supporting us a lot actually this year, which was super cool. And next up, I've got a movie called The Red Mask that's playing at Screamfest on the 11th. I'm doing a panel with a bunch of other horror GPs for Screamfest on Wednesday, and so that night at the Chinese Theater, and so I will be there with a bunch of other very cool people.
Wow.
And I would say those are the most current things happening.
That's awesome, dude. Awesome. I love your film. I love your work. You're fantastic. And everybody could catch them on VHS wearing the outfit. Maybe you decide when you watch the movie. You don't know who it is. Also, you have a lot of stuff on Hulu that's going on right now. So like, you're doing it. So thank you for coming on, and hope to see you down the line, my man.
Yes, sir. See you soon.